Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another wonderful day of ELA. Today is March 1st, 2021, so let's go ahead and get started. As you know, before we start, you want to make sure that you are following all of our expectations, which means that you want to please mute your microphone. If you have a camera, please turn your camera on and raise your virtual hand and wait to be called on. And as we know, good listeners slant. So we sit up, we listen, we ask and answer questions, we nod our heads every now and then so I know that you're with me, and you track the speaker. So to start, we're going to start with a quick activator. And I want to ask you to take a look at the picture on my screen right here. And I want you to tell me, what do you notice about this picture? So take just a minute or so. You can pause this video if you like. Take a minute or so to take a look at the picture and think about and be ready to share what you notice. Now I'm going to tell you some things that I noticed when I looked at the picture. So I noticed that there was a man and a woman in the picture, and both of our characters, which we know are people or animals in a story or a picture, both of them have speech bubbles above their heads. They're looking at the same thing right here on the ground, but their thoughts inside of their speech bubble are different. I wonder why that is so. They're looking at the same thing down here, but their thoughts are different. I'm wondering why. This lesson should help you to answer that question. So our learning target for today is I can acknowledge the different points of view of characters in a story. And that word acknowledge, that's a big word. But that word acknowledge means that I can identify, I can recognize, I can notice the different points of view of characters. And the points of view, we're going to talk about that here soon. So today's focus is about the point of view. And if you take a look at this chart, you can see that the point of view is the way a character thinks or feels. Okay, so you notice that there's a speech bubble here. So the point of view is telling us all about how the character thinks or feels. So today we're going to read a story about a group of crayons, believe that or not, that are expressing their thoughts and feelings about being crayons. And as we read, I want you to think about how they feel as you listen to the story. So in Canvas, the story is called The Day the Crayons Quit. You'll have a full read aloud that you can listen to the whole story in Canvas. However, I'm just going to read a little part of this story to see if you can recognize about the point of view. Now, there are some things that you should notice. There's a narrator, which is the person that is telling the story. And then there are some characters. So let's read this together and see what we can figure out about point of view. One day in class, Duncan went to take out his crayons and found a stack of letters with his name on them. Hey, Duncan, it's me, Red Crayon. We need to talk. You make me work harder than any of the other crayons. All year long, I wear myself out coloring fire engines, apples, strawberries, and everything else that's red. I even work on holidays. I have to color all the Santas at Christmas and all the hearts on Valentine's Day. I need a rest. Your overworked friend, Red Crayon. I wonder how he's feeling. Purple Crayon. Dear Duncan, all right, lesson. I love that I'm your favorite crayon for grapes, dragons, and wizard's hats. But it makes me crazy that so much of my gorgeous color goes outside of the lines. If you don't start coloring inside the lines soon, I'm going to completely lose it. Your neat friend, Purple Crayon. So that's only a small part of the story. So let's think. How do you think those crayons are feeling? Do they feel the same or do they feel different? Once again, how do you think in your mind, how are those crayons feeling? Do they feel the same or do they feel different? This is where we think about the point of view. Remember, go back to our anchor chart and we remember that the point of view is how a character thinks or feels. So if I think about that red crayon and that purple crayon, I notice a few things about them. I noticed that the purple crayon was kind of frustrated because Duncan is coloring all outside of the lines. I noticed that the red crayon, he was kind of frustrated too, but about something different because he had to color Santa Claus, he had to color fire engines, and all of those things. So I noticed too that the voices changed. So the red crayon and the purple crayon have different points of view. They feel different ways about being the color that they are and the way Duncan is using them. Two crayons in the same crayon box, but they have different thoughts and different feelings. So I'm going to show you my point of view. Now here's an example of what you're going to do in your lesson. So also at the bottom of that read aloud in Canvas is a link where you will go to Teacher Made and complete a worksheet that looks just like this one. So we heard from the red crayon and we also heard from the purple crayon. Guess what? It's your turn to become a crayon. So I'm going to show you Miss Thorpe's point of view. Remember, we already heard from red, we already heard from purple, so Miss Thorpe decided to be a different color. So here we go. Your directions on your worksheet say, write a letter to Duncan as if you were the crayon you have on your desk. How would you feel about being that crayon? What would your point of view be? Describe some things you would like or dislike about being that color. And at the top it says that you should draw a picture of you as the crayon. And at the bottom, you are to write your letter to Duncan, letting him know about your point of view. So here's mine. Here's my picture. And just in case you don't know this color, this is the color navy. And look at my face. Take a look at my illustration. So this is what Miss Thorpe drew. Now, Miss Thorpe is not the best artist, but remember, I tried my best. And you can see right here, look at the little face. I wonder, what can you tell from this illustration just by looking at the face? And I have here my thoughts. Why don't you use me? So here's my letter to Duncan. Dear Duncan, hi, I am Navy. Do you even see me? You never use me in your pictures. I realize that I am not exactly the color of the sky or a blue popsicle or the water, but can't you find something to draw that is the color navy? What about a nice pair of jeans, a t-shirt, or a cool pair of navy shoes? Please, I am begging you, include me on at least one picture. Your left out crayon, Navy. All right, So that was Miss Thorpe. I wonder, what did you notice about Miss Thorpe's reading of her letter? When I took on the character of Navy, what did you notice? Think about that when you get ready to write your letter to Duncan. So here we go. Now it is your turn. You're going to click on the story, The Day the Crayons Quit, in Canvas. Listen to the entire story. That means listen to the whole story. Then click on the link to complete your letter to Duncan. After you work, we're going to share our letters and talk about the differences in our points of view. Make sure you have fun and let your personality show. Now, class, I'm going to release you to go ahead and get started on your work. When we come back, again, we're going to share and we're going to talk about and record or write down the differences between your point of view and your partner's point of view. So we're going to get into teams and we're going to decide what the differences are between the points of view of the different color crayons. Okay, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining class. Bye.